big story. Here is America, its sound and its fury, its joy and its sorrow, as faithfully reported by the men and women of the great American newspapers. Dateline,
Ferndale, Michigan.
the story of
Shawn Windsor.
a misfit of 16, a frightened boy who killed out of fear. To reporter
ML Elric.
for his excellent work in this case goes the Pell Mell Award for the big story.
You asked interrogative questions out of my face. It's gone.
What are you doing? What are you doing? Come on.
That is not paid for by them. That is paid for by the people of Detroit.
You might be qualified, ML.
I'm not qualified for this job.
Let me tell you something. You want to go right now? Okay? You want to go right now?
Hey kids, it's your old pal ML Elric, reveling in another fantastic intro by Marc. Just picturing
So proud of yourself.
Shawn Windsor,
A fictionalized version of yourself. You're so proud of it.
a frightened 16-year-old rolling on beans with a tank of stolen petrol, staring up at the arch in St. Louis and just saying, wow.
Look at that teenager. He's just sitting there on his phone.
He is a teenager. He's
Paying
probably
attention.
doing some of those TikToking videos.
Is that what you're looking at, TikTok?
Did we start the show?
Son of dick.
How's your IG doing, influencer?
I'm not influence of anybody.
What?
Not even-
Your influencer is here, so that's good.
You don't talk about the gram?
The gram.
Yeah,
no.
Instagram.
You
IG.
know, I knew
Was that what they call it?
Yeah.
what you meant.
Your grid or your reel?
The
I don't know.
gram.
I think these are words kids use.
They do, and
He's
I know.
full of
You know
Riz,
why?
that's all
Because
I
I got
know.
Riz. That's
Yeah.
right, exactly.
Yeah.
And
Sigma.
I got it from
If you
Shawn.
say you have Riz, do you have Riz? You shouldn't have to say you have Riz, right? You just have it. It's like cool.
Well, you would know. You're the one with all the Riz in here.
Yeah.
Oh, it's like cool. If you tell people
You're Riz, I'm Sigma, and he's sus.
if you tell people you're cool,
Sus.
You're not cool.
Is that good?
I mean, right? You undermine yourself.
I
Not
would-
that Mike needs any help undermining himself.
I was just told to stop referring to myself in the third person. I guess that's apparently kind of a bad thing. It just seemed natural to me. ML's got Riz.
So what?
No, you're sus.
So you've had a run of ties. Speaking of sus, you've had a run of ties here lately. What's the? Are you teaching? Are you a part of some board that we don't know about? What's going on?
Well, you seem to be bored. And we are well aware of it. As I explained to you last time
bored
you
at all.
asked, I dress for the weather. When it's hot out, I wear much more comfortable clothing. When we get to a little more cooler weather, I can dress in a more professional demeanor. So I've got my skull and crossbone ties. As everybody who's been kind enough to donate $5 to us on Patreon can see for themselves in the video version of ML Soul.
You use that for your ties?
What's that?
The $5?
No.
Yes.
Although most of them.
There's
that voice
the
you just
honest
heard.
voice in the room.
This is
Your
the
boss is
longest
here.
I've been in a room with Tresa where she hasn't spoken. So we're gonna keep her going as she joins us to talk about the latest outrage out of Oxford, because it turns out there are families who feel they still haven't gotten justice, and they're wondering who is going to get it for them. This has been 3 years, and they're still waiting for certain parties who they believe are responsible for the tragedy at Oxford High School to be brought to bear. And there's a debate right now, which Teresa's been chronicling for the Detroit Free Press, which you can subscribe to. We were just talking about this for 10 cents. 10 cents. When I was a paper boy in 1979, it was 15 cents to get a copy of the paper. But you can get a whole month of this shit for 10 cents. And by shit, I mean special headlines, including
Today's?
Yes, that's SHIT. That's get the good shit at the Free Press for 10 cents a month. She's going to talk about that. Who's responsible? Is it the Oakland County Prosecutor, a very ambitious politician? Or is it our outgoing Attorney General, Dana Nessel, who has something that the Oakland County Prosecutor might want, which is a very, very prominent and powerful position in our state government. So Teresa's going to break down her latest story for us in just a minute. But first, we want to thank the people who keep us coming back every week. First of all, you. We are leaning more and more on our Patreon subscribers, and a couple folks, we'll find out who later on, responded to my plaintive appeal that you pony up a few bucks every week to support us. We really appreciate those of you, because you are our most important part of the show. You're the listener. You're our sponsors now, and if you're still listening, you obviously can't be helped by modern medical science. So we pray for you as well. But we're also brought to you by Dr. Yalda, who can help you see better than perfect vision. We'll tell you in a minute how you can get yourself over to Dr. Yaldo's to get your peepers fixed up. Luke Nowacki, who can fix up your financial portfolio, markets up and down. Don't worry about it. Let Luke do the worrying. He'll come up with a plan, and he'll get you ready for a better future. And, of course, the Caju Cafe, if you're looking for a great place to go on the east side, or if you like feather bowling, you don't really have that many choices, you better get your ass over to the Caju Cafe, where they have great eats, beats, and meats. Like, you might meet me there, or maybe you'll meet the love of your life playing darts, feather bowling, pinball, listen to a great band, having some good chow. We'll tell you all about what's going on at the Caju this week in room 7609, where we also have a very special musical offer for you. So enough of the preamble. I was going to start off let's talk about my latest column about some more shenanigans in Highland Park, where naughty thoughts cost one of the poorest school districts in the country
Take a breath,
almost $2 million. But you know what?
You're I'm going to go to the hospital, man. Take a breath.
You know what? I see Shawn is glowing, and I don't think it's because he's been exposed to nuclear waste.
This is like our pre-show meeting. This is exactly how it went. We all three sat here and didn't say a word. I just want the listeners to know that.
Some of us sat here longer than others.
Go on.
Oh, okay. So
Not to rekindle old.
you were
disputes.
early. You were early for once.
Take a breath.
Mr. Magoo, by the way, sent us a great graphic recapturing the magic from last week's show, which we will be sharing
What's that?
with you. It's
Oh, were you and I fussing at each other?
I thought maybe there was Leo Biatch and need a slap, and there was some confusion about who was the Biatch and who was going to do the slapping. But you can
I
you can hear that for yourself last week.
I don't remember being upset at all last week.
I don't remember you being conscious last week.
I don't think you were upset.
No, I
We
wasn't.
move along.
Oh, sorry. The boss is here. So Tresa Baldas of the Detroit
There's
Free
an
Press.
adult in the room.
Yeah, she is older. She is the oldest person in the room, as a matter of fact.
Why would you point that out anyway?
October 20, 1967. What about you?
Oh wow! Thanks to the identity.
I don't
thieves.
remember
How old are you?
something.
Happy belated birthday, by the way.
Something.
Yeah.
What do you mean 50-something? 50 what?
58, I guess.
What a Sean
So he's
answer.
older than me.
I could be old. I could be young.
Sorry, it's just going on appearance. He looks
1966.
He's the
okay,
oldest.
there he's the oldest.
He looks young and vivacious. That's all I was.
Not
I was
really.
fooled by.
The identity thieves.
How old is Mikey? Old as Mikey. What's his birthday?
Old enough to know better.
10 days younger than me.
Oh, really?
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
I'm October 20. He's October 30.
So 67.
Well, there goes. What, you know what my social security number is too? Why don't we just put that out there?
So
001.
Yeah, we could use
you-
some more credit cards.
So you guys graduated in 85.
More
high
identity
school.
theft information.
What's your mother's maiden names?
Yeah. What's the significance of the number 7325?
What's the first concert you guys ever went to? Isn't that a P word?
Aldenova.
Oh, there's another one.
Yeah.
And Cheap Trick. And Cheap Trick.
Oh, and Cheap Trick.
Beethoven live in Salzburg. It was unplugged
And then you dipped over to the salt mines.
in Salzburg. Are there salt mines in Salzburg?
They're not too far from
What?
there.
Okay.
Really?
I don't know.
Wow.
I mean, who would check?
Yeah, let's never go on vacation together.
Very easy to check to see if that was made up, but who cares?
While we're here in the
I don't know.
funnest,
I just remember going to salt mines somewhere near there. So
while we're in the party capital of Austria, let's check out the salt mines.
well, I figured you
so.
want to go in there and look a little at, of the salt.
No. Tresa, you're right about Oxford. Bail us out here. This is where you jump in and save me from myself again.
Okay, here we go. So I'll bring us up to date on what's going on with the horrible Oxford school shooting. It's been 3 years since it happened, and as we know, 4 students died, 7 others were injured, including a teacher. So 3 years later, the parents are upset, saying the parents of the victims, there still has never been, to date, a investigation with total participation of school officials and staff. There was one investigation by a private company called Guidepost Solutions, but 2/3 of the staff and school officials refused to take part in it.
Why is that? Is that because of the union didn't want them to? They didn't want to expose themselves to?
Some were advised not to. There were pending lawsuits, and lawyers said don't talk. But that investigation found several problems with how the school handled the shooting beforehand. They found, lack of preparation, an abuse and misuse of authority by multiple officials, that things could have been done that weren't done that could have prevented this. So this investigation found a lot of problems, but they weren't able to interview and two of the key people in this case who went on to testify at the trial against the parents, and that was the school counselor, Shawn Hopkins, and the assistant dean of students, Nicholas Ejak, both who they were the two people who allowed the shooter to go back to class that day, thinking, he's just depressed, he's just sad. They never searched his backpack. They never asked the parents, does he have a gun? Does he have access to a gun? They never ordered the parents to send him home from school. All of this they admitted to in testimony in the parents' trial. But anyway, they've never been questioned. There are many others who have never been questioned, and the parents are saying, we want a thorough investigation. We want everyone to talk. And
it's hard. It's really hard to disagree with that when you see this guidepost solutions investigation, where the idea is to figure out, okay, how did this happen, and hopefully, how do we stop this from happening again? But at the same time, I can understand not wanting to incriminate yourself by participating in it. So, did they need to do a private investigation now before before every charge has been done and every legal aspect, every criminal charge is over?
Right. Well, so here enters the next step. So the company does not have subpoena power.
Yeah, of course.
Prosecutors do. And so a sticking point in this case, this whole case from the beginning, has been the parents have wanted accountability from all the actors. And after the father was convicted, James Crumbly, that night, the shooter went down, the wife went down, the husband went down. That night, on the third conviction, a father stood up. All the parents did, actually, the parents of the 4 kids who died, and said, we've come this far. We've put these 3, behind bars, but there's a 4th leg out there. There's a 4th leg we need to take care of, and that's the school. We want accountability. And so I asked Karen McDonald, the prosecutor, that night, I said, these parents are still asking for accountability for school officials. Can we expect to see charges against any school officials? And she didn't answer the question. And then the next day, her office put out a press release that said, after thoroughly investigating this case, we will not be charging any school officials. We have found no evidence that warrants that.
So she knew when you asked the question.
She knew when I asked the question, and then they made it formal the next day.
But you said the parents were there at that press conference, right?
Correct, yeah. Correct. So she wasn't going to stand up there and say, oh, by the way, we're not going to give you what you're asking for here. What she didn't say, though, when she what they did not disclose that day when they said we will not be charging any school officials, the next day, the Free Press wrote a story, or I wrote a story. I learned that the school officials, the key ones who testified at trial against the parents, were offered immunity agreements. They're called castigar agreements. And what you do is before you sit down and you talk with law enforcement about what you know, you sign these agreements that essentially protects anything you say during those meetings from being held against you.
How common is that in criminal cases?
Very common. Yeah. It's very common. However, these have to be disclosed to the defense. So when the parents went to trial, the jury never knew that those 2 witnesses had signed anything like that. The defense didn't know about it. Nobody knew about it until we wrote about it. And so the prosecutor's office has said repeatedly, listen, we promised no immunity to anybody. These castigar agreements are typical. They're common. This didn't offer them automatic protection, but we pushed, and then they gave us we got to see them. And essentially, they were offered protection. And so I understand how this went. I mean, Karen McDonald, in order to prosecute the parents, which was a historic and huge case, she needed those school officials.
Well, it's almost like a prisoner's dilemma. She had to choose which one, right?
Correct.
And she never would have gotten well, it'd be really unlikely for her to get the convictions of the Crumley parents without those two officials.
Correct. Right.
Well, that just sucks because, you want anybody who is responsible on any level to be charged, but I just don't know if that's the reality, unfortunately.
Well, let's fast forward to the present now. So you have these parents, they hold this press conference, and they're upset, they're angry. They said, we've been asking the state of Michigan for an investigation to look into this. We weren't happy with the private one from the company. We want the state to come in with subpoena power and do what hasn't been able to been done before, get folks to talk. Now, the parents have said that, like, listen, this isn't just about looking for someone else to prosecute. We want other changes too. We want better security in the schools. We want better threat assessments. We want laws to be passed that don't let schools have automatic immunity when you try to sue them. There's a lot of things they're asking for, but we've remained focused, and our readers have asked this question, many of them, why have no school officials been charged? And the parents have asked that too. So I obtained a letter that Karen McDonald actually wrote to the parents in October that said, listen, you have asked me repeatedly, can I charge the school officials? And she tells them no. She said, I can't, but I can tell you what you need to do. The state has the power to do this. The Attorney General can do this, and Gretchen Whitmer can impanel a special task force to do this.
Now, does the state need to be asked by the local prosecutor to do that, though?
That's what Dana Nessel says, that no one has ever asked me. Now, we'll go back to this.
They offered, too, right, when it happened?
They did offer. This is what sort of threw those of us who've been following this for a loop, because when this first happened, Dana Nessel went to Oxford and said, hey, can we help? We want to help you investigate this. The sheriff told her to beat it. He's like, no, we don't need you. In fact, she maintains that he told her, this is political. You're just trying to grandstand here. We don't need you.
I mean, the sheriff, that would be
Oakland, Bouchard's
office,
yes,
right?
All right.
Who's Republican, whatever. But I only bring that up because there does seem to be a little interesting politics angle to this whole thing.
Right. And then she goes to
he's the one that said we don't need you here?
He said we don't need you. So no, it went to three different organizations. She first went to the sheriffs. They said we don't need you. She went to the prosecutor's office. They said no repeatedly, like at least 3 times, she said. She went to the Oxford School Board. They rejected her offer 3 times. So 3 years later, she's standing there and she's got these families saying, you have refused to help us. And, I'm no apologist or explainer for Dana Nessel, but I mean, the record needs to be set straight. She did offer to investigate.
Yeah, for this case, it seems pretty clear.
And they all told her no. And the other thing Nessel said that I found interesting, she said, listen, in most cases, when local prosecutors' offices want help with a case, they'll pick up the phone, they call you, they say, hey, let's sit down, let's do this. She said, I've done this multiple times. Not once has anyone from Oxford ever called us and said, we need help with this case. So she said, you want it now? Fine, I'll do it, but I need all your investigative reports. I need all the data. I need everything. And, the question out there is, why does Karen McDonald think that Dana Nessel has subpoena power that she doesn't?
Yeah.
All law enforcement has subpoena power. If you want, to force somebody to talk,
they have to.
They have to. So there's a bit of a lot of finger pointing going on.
What is the thinking behind just turning down any kind of help? Is it because the Attorney General office is so powerful and big that when they offer to help, they're really taking it over? Is that the thought? Why would the school board say, no, we don't need your help?
I don't know why the school...
that makes 0 sense.
I don't know why. We'll have to get our education reporter on here for you guys. Maybe she can answer that.
Well, if you recall, we had a couple school board members on a while ago who resigned because they said that people in Oxford were being misled about what happened and that there were policies that were followed. And if I recall correctly, they're saying there were policies that weren't followed, and we can't sit here on this school board and continue to tell these parents things that we don't believe were true. And they were advised, again, I'm going on recall here, I believe by their insurance company, to clam up. And they said they couldn't do it anymore. And so they were going to speak out. One of the things that strikes me is if you're a prosecutor and you have a case, you really don't want anybody else butting in. And if you think you're making the best case the way you can, you probably want to have the field cleared.
Especially if the other person's the attorney general of your state.
Well, and the attorney general did get involved in the Eric Smith prosecution. That's the Macomb County prosecutor who got in trouble. And I know there was some friction between the feds and the state where they kind of felt like, I don't know if their case is as good as ours. We're doing our thing. Why are they doing their thing? They should just stand down. So I think, you don't want to have two hunters going after one target. But it could also be if you think that this case is your ticket to a better place, you don't want to share the glory. And we do know that the prosecutor was working with the Washington Post and was working with Netflix to tell the story. Maybe it's kind of one of those things where we want this all to ourselves. Or it could just be, hey, let's not step on each other's toes.
And this is where the politics angle comes in, because if she has her eye on higher office and, Nessel's not terribly liked, so why not separate yourself by throwing her under the bus and saying it's her turn? She has the subpoena power that I don't have, which is just it's a flat out lie.
Well, there's also been talk, legal experts will talk about how difficult it is to hold a school official criminally liable for something that happened on their job. However, there's a case
That's true of all government officials. There's something called government immunity where they try and allow government, and that's one of the things the Supreme Court was just talking about with Trump, that you can't prosecute him for a lot of these crimes because when you are in office, you have to be able to make decisions and do things without worrying
hard ones,
that you're going to get hammered every time with a lawsuit or charged with a crime or something like that. So this isn't unique to school boards, but it is very frustrating to people who have got done wrong by a governmental entity because it's hard to hold them responsible.
In the Oxford case, so there are multiple lawsuits out there, state ones and federal ones on behalf of the parents. They're all hung up in appeals because judges dismissed them all on immunity grounds. They are being appealed. So what the families also in Oxford, what they're fighting for.
It's also easier to win a lawsuit if somebody's been convicted of something.
Right,
yeah.
but
you're saying they're immune from both criminal and civil?
Well, in the civil cases, they have found. I mean, these are civil suits, and the judges have held that they're immune from civil liability, and so what the families in Oxford are asking for is, hey, Michigan, we need a new law here to amend. We need our immunity laws relooked at. For example, Colorado, after Columbine, changed its immunity law that doesn't offer blanket immunity to public officials.
But that wouldn't be retroactive, right?
It wouldn't.
What does that do for the victim's parents?
It doesn't, but they want change for the future. That's what it is. It's like, one parent kept saying yesterday, have we not learned anything? Have we not learned anything? No, it doesn't bring their children back. It doesn't change what happened in Oxford. But going forward, it puts more, our immunity laws don't just give, like I said, blanket immunity. A person like ML said, who's been wronged or felt they've been wronged by someone who works for a public entity, has some recourse. And
I don't know if this is getting into the weeds, but when you say immunity from civil, is that just for the school district and the school itself and the board, or is that for each individual person?
Well, the lawsuits are against the school. Some individuals as well. The judges in all those cases have dismissed all the suits, saying that the school counselor, the dean of students, the school itself, the superintendent, they're all immune, and so that's it's caught up in litigation. But I've got to note this here, and I haven't reported on it yet, but I want to.
Exclusive.
No, it's not. It's not because it's been reported elsewhere. But
Scoop.
This whole idea that we can't prosecute school officials. In Virginia, there was a school shooting where a 6-year-old boy shot the teacher. And the assistant principal was charged by their attorney general with 7 counts of child abuse for ignoring warning signs that this kid could do something like this. The facts of the case, some of it mirrors what happened in Oxford. There were warning signs, you ignored them. And now an assistant principal down in Virginia is about to go to trial on this. And so, and that
what were the warning signs?
Behavioral problems, unruly, wasn't listening,
And the mom was criminally charged, wasn't she? And
Yes, she
convicted
was.
of something? Yeah, I mean, I think there was some signs that this was a troubled kid.
I mean, that's even tougher.
And-
You're talking about a 6-year-old versus a high schooler.
And the teacher didn't die.
Yeah.
I mean, we have 4 dead students in Oxford, and no school official has been held accountable. Down there, we have an injured teacher and an assistant principal's charged.
Immunity laws in Michigan are very much unlike other states. In most of the other states, the Catholic Church is facing bankruptcy, is making massive payouts to victims of the priest abuse scandal. But in Michigan, they can't go after the Catholic Church here in Michigan the way they can in other states because there are some immunity laws. There's an issue where this is bigger, I think, than what's going on in Oxford, where people need to take a look at this and say, "Hey, wait a minute, why are we not holding people accountable in the way that they do across the country?" Tresa, this is a pretty complicated story, and you've covered it pretty well in the Free Press. So we definitely want
Very
people
well.
to take a look at those stories. Shawn was enraptured. He was paralyzed.
He asked a
by the
question.
analytical. I know.
You know he's paying attention.
know.
Pretty well, very well.
he's dialed in.
because the whole thing is sickening.
Yeah, it's awful.
No,
It
no.
is.
But I have a very different idea maybe than y'all.
let's hear
The
it.
idea that we're going to ask schools to do what our society can't is outrageous. It's outrageous. We're the only country in the world that does this, and we're going to ask a place where we send for kids to learn math, science, reading, and history. Oh, by the way, fix our gun problems.
We're not asking them to fix the gun
No,
problems.
but that's what we are. If we're holding them accountable, we're absolutely doing that.
Well, here's and I'll
The assistant principal should be worried. He's got to be a psychologist too, and predict
Well, I
that
mean,
he's
Right,
going to
but-
bring a gun in.
I think that's why you feel, a little bit of empathy towards those people. That's a really
course.
tough job. But at the same
We can't do it as a society. But we want our schools
I
to
agree,
do it.
but it's almost moot because the crime has happened, right?
I get the parents.
Right,
I get the
right,
parents.
right.
Bringing the guns in the house. Absolutely. But we want the schools to fix something we can as a society. I don't like
but
it.
I don't know
they
if we're-
they do spend
don't
more
like
time with our kids every day than we do, and I don't think it's unreasonable to say, "Hey, if you think a kid may be a danger to others, get them out of the school. Let's
Right.
be safe."
I mean, but that's why this
rather
case
than
is so
sorry.
tricky. Then if the parents are like, no,
Absolutely.
we're not going to take them. What does the school
How many
do?
kids
Do
are
they-
in Oxford?
Would they
High
be
school?
Would they be okay just sending the
1,000, I
kid
think.
out?
1,000?
over.
Well, so then there's
1,000.
another problem.
How many people work in Oxford High School?
I don't know the number.
At least
So
8.
what's the ratio? Seriously, that's what we're. I mean,
Well,
it's
what
just-
it is, and
Well, nobody's debating that two of the toughest jobs in America are working in a school and being a cop.
Which, by the
Because-
way, we shit on both all the time.
yes,
well, don't include me in that.
We don't firefighters so much; they're immune. But cops and teachers, yeah.
I think they both should be
And
paid
for
as
different
much as we can
reasons.
possibly
Absolutely.
afford. Because if
Amen.
one doesn't do their job, the other has to. and
Absolutely.
Nobody ever thanks either one of them. But one of the things with Teresa's stories here that,
Yes,
that
I'm awake.
is becoming a bigger problem. You're awake. You're fired up. You stop. For
You're
some,
full on woke.
You stop for some caffeinated coffee on the way to the office this week.
Woke just means don't be a fucking asshole.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, so I'm going.
oh boy,
Sometimes people are woke are a-holes because they're telling you stuff like, "Oh, you really shouldn't step on the grass because those pieces of
all
green growth they have
woke
life."
is society
Sorry, I said the
decided. You
word.
know what? We're not going to let
Sidebar.
guys grab women's asses in offices anymore, like we did in 1980.
Yeah, but that
And
also
we
did-
decided when we're going to do that anymore. Did we go a little bit too far? Fine, but it's so much better out there in so many different ways. The way we talk to people, the things we can't say anymore, the way we can't touch, just random. Right? It's ridiculous. Oh, did it?
it's- I mean,
You
the,
weren't
the
Did
theory.
it swing? Did it swing too far a little bit? Maybe so. But what was the greater good? My
Right.
God.
To bring about change in the middle, it takes extreme
It
measures,
does.
and I'd rather be woke than asleep. Sorry,
What was it like for
Damn,
you? What
there's
was
a
it
bumper
like for
sticker.
you 20 years ago in an office? It's ridiculous.
Oh, I did. I mean, we've talked about this on the show. I had a high-ranking boss at a TV station ask me what I was wearing underneath my skirt.
And you know what?
When
You
he gave
can't-
me a raise.
And you know what? You do that now, you get fucking canceled.
Yeah.
And you should.
yeah,
Agreed.
you get
The-
fired.
the-
Forget canceled. Fired.
Yes.
The problem is that word means different things to different people, and it's just so gone beyond that. Because if you remember, there was a lot of because what you said was actually would be deemed very anti-woke to want to pay teachers and police more. Because remember the whole defund the police, a lot of people took that as cutting police. and they took that as woke. So it's just that word means so many different things to so many different people.
Let me jump back to Oxford here for a second.
I just meant you were literally awake today.
And going back to the subject of, are we asking our school, our teachers, our counselors, our principals to raise our kids, to solve our societal problems? I think when you have an incident like this, I mean, this is isolated. This isn't like, okay, we're going to use Oxford to solve.
Oh, I thought you said this is Iceland. I'm like,
no,
really?
no, our problems. But teachers and all school officials, they're mandatory reporters, as are dentists, as are doctors. Yeah. And when you have a child that presents to you signs that they may be a threat to themselves or others, there are protocols you have to follow and that you should follow, because at the end of the day, who's responsible for our children inside the schools? The people who are paid to do that job. Yes, they're not paid very well. They should be paid more. Absolutely. But this isn't, the parents are one thing, but the school officials are also, I mean, they were tasked with protecting everybody in that school that day. And there are those who believe, and the victims' families as well, you failed us. That's what the civil suits are all about.
Can I go back? I want to go back to that other question too. And Elric, I think you started answering it. Like, what are these?
Why was it so easy for him to get a gun? Oh,
no. Just when he is presented as a problem because he's making these drawings in class or he's shopping for ammunition, and you bring the parents in, and they're like, no, he's got to go back to class. I mean, don't you think the school's hands are a little tied there, or do they just go, oh, right, you have to get off campus, and then he could still return anyway?
Well, that's why it's so important for reporters to get things right. And that scenario, what happened in the school counselors that day, has been misrepresented by so many media outlets, and it outrages me. So here is what happened. Those parents came in there, and the school officials, they said, here's the drawing. They looked at it. Nobody ever told those parents, you have to take him home. All right. And the way, I mean, we have quotes coming from the prosecutor's office that said that this family refused to take him home. That did not happen. Nobody refused to do anything. The parents asked, can we handle this? Can we go back to our jobs? I don't think they
were never clear that he needs to leave.
Right. It was never made apparent to them that, you know what, you need to bring him home. Nobody ever directed them and ordered them to bring them home. Now, I don't think any parent who looked at this case, I don't think the Crumbleys were ever going to survive this hurdle. And they didn't, clearly. Mm-hmm. When they looked at that piece of paper with the gun and a human body bleeding and it said, the thoughts won't stop, help me.
Well, the thing is, if anybody should have known.
You grab your kid and you say, we're going home.
Yeah.
All right? But instead, you had a mom with her arms folded. She was pissed off at her son. You dragged me out of work to be here and his grades were down, and now you're doing this. The dad is like, okay, we'll get help. So the counselor and the dean of students testified. We found it kind of odd that they didn't offer to bring him home. We had expected that they would bring him home, but they never told them, you have to take him home. And so the counselor concluded that, listen, this kid he seems sad, he seems depressed. I think it's safer for him to be in a school environment than to go home and sit by himself while his parents are at work. So he made that decision to let Ethan Crumbley go back to class.
Well, it's tough, though.
Is that criminal? I know.
There's some logic to that.
There is.
That's why the question.
For psychologically. Right?
Isn't that why you would want a jury to decide?
I mean, I'd rather be here than at home.
And
believe me, the home feels the same way.
I'd be very sad at home.
And
they want you out of there, too.
Here's the thing. This kid manipulated everybody. He had a dark side that flew under the radar. I've said this over and over and over again. All these, what he wrote in his journals, what he was writing to his friend, the only person who knew how twisted he was his friend, who's also mentally ill and was institutionalized. Nobody knew, not the parents, not the school, nobody. And so I don't know if you could have...
Well, the question is, should they have known? With the evidence that is presented to them. And I think the jury spoke and said, yeah, they should have known. They should have kept...
This is one of the problems is you got kind of an effed up family with an effed up kid, and you have a counselor who's got 1,000 kids to keep an eye on, and you have to make the exact right call. I mean, if anything, lesson learned is when in doubt, send them out. But
err on the extreme side of safety.
But I don't know how well this counselor knew the parents, but I might be sitting there saying, shit, man, the last thing I want is this bummed out kid spending the afternoon with these two goofballs. That's not really the recipe for success.
And when he was researching bullets in class and they called the house and told the mom, oh, by the way, and when we've heard the voicemail, I'm calling from Oxford. We found this. We talked to him about it. It's no big deal. He told us he likes to go
hunting or
shooting, that he'd been to the shooting range, and that he, this is a family
Perfectly
hobby.
normal behavior.
But we just wanted you to be aware.
in this
Happy
society.
holidays. I mean, that was it. Don't call us, but and it was all. I mean, there is this gun culture in Oxford too that has come up in this case. That why didn't they take it more seriously? Because this was normal behavior.
Yeah.
For kids in Oxford, people
I
go
get that.
hunting.
I understand that.
Yeah. But
So Teresa's story touches on all this. So if you want to know more about it, check it out. But the one thing I want to leave
Good
with,
stuff.
because I think this is the part that's going to get really sticky before we get to getting justice for anybody, is now we have kind of a pissing match with the Attorney General and Oakland County Prosecutor. Teresa, where does that stand? I mean, is Karen McDonald saying, oh, I guess I did ask you to come in. Sorry, I forgot. And is Nessel saying, oh, that's okay, my fellow friendly Democratic prosecutor. I'll be happy to pick this up. Or are they now training their sights on each other?
Where it's going to go, I don't know. All I do know is that Nessel has said, fine, I never took my offer to investigate this off the table. I'll investigate it. And Whitmer's like, yeah, we support this. I don't have any subpoena power, but we support this, and we'll do whatever you guys need.
And so these school officials who were given immunity deals by the Oakland County prosecutor, is the Attorney General bound by those, or can she say, like in the Road War, you had your deal for the tank of gas with that guy, but he's dead, so now you need to make a new deal.
Yeah.
Right. I
Any
mean,
Mel
those
Gibson fans out there?
Those
It's
agreements.
Christmas. He's
That's a
good
gangster
Catholic.
law.
That's not
is
that
it?
wasn't her investigation. That was Karen's investigation. So.
And does she start from scratch, or do they hand over any investigative material, or is this day one with the Attorney General and here we go again?
No, they're going to hand over everything they've got. Bouchard will, McDonald will, and we'll see what happens. I mean,
Okay.
I that counselor, when he testified, you could see. I mean, a lot of this is hindsight. He looked at what he had that day, and I mean, I've had lawyers calling me screaming like they didn't check his backpack. You guys can probably guess which lawyer was really adamant about
Did
that.
he kind of sound like this? Was he turning red at the time?
But they should have checked that kid's backpack. Everybody said, they should have checked the kid's backpack. And, hindsight, it's easy. We saw what happened. It's awful.
Well, maybe that's one of the changes that need to be made. Is that you're going to search the backpack.
Right.
You're going to search the lockers.
Well, I'll leave on this note, but there are school districts out there now in Southeast Michigan, and they have a new code in their school. It's called Oxford. And when a kid presents with a problem, everyone looks at one another and says, Oxford. And they send them home.
Sounds like Peyton Manning. Omaha.
Anyway.
Change it up.
All right.
Before you go, let me ask you this, because I think
She said she's done. Respect it.
sometimes she's done and we keep going. This is
Oh my
good
God.
No, I'm just saying she doesn't get to end every conversation. It's not like at home.
conversation?
My name's on this show at the house. Believe me, when she says conversation's over, it's done.
We know. what you meant.
Go. Make it quick.
This notion
That'll
of
be
He also
easy.
says that too.
That's easy.
this notion of this is my mom listens to this show.
She knows too, I'm
Mainly because she doesn't want Shawn to come yell at her in person. The thing that I'm concerned about with
I never yelled at your mama.
Let him go. I got to get out of here.
you said something about her cookies one. Mom, you remember that, don't you? We'll catch up with you offline. This thing with the holding people responsible, is the idea that they're going to hold school officials criminally responsible, or is this strictly a matter of somebody's going to have to pay? Because if they are found liable in a civil action, it would be the school and their insurance company pays, not these officials out of their pocket.
Right.
But I'm assuming, since it's the Attorney General, she would be bringing a criminal case.
Exactly. And one parent did
So this
say
isn't about
something.
money. This is about freedom.
There is one parent did say yesterday, listen, we don't want to be hung up on vengeance. We don't want to be hung up on we're looking for more people to prosecute. However, and this is a big however, without accountability, there's no change. And I thought that was pretty powerful. And just somebody standing up and saying, I'm sorry, I made a mistake. It's not enough.
Well,
For them.
and in fairness to the people who may or may not feel they made a mistake, once you stand up and say, I made a mistake, that's when the lawyers come in and say, that's an admission. That's going to
Well, that's why I
cost you a
understand
lot
why
of
2/3 of the
zeros.
people didn't participate in the the investigation by the private company.
Absolutely, but they could have been compelled to by a subpoena, and I think that's where Nessel and McDonald are going to take this a little differently. So,
but how could McDonald force them to talk when she'd already given them protection? I mean, it's silly.
Well, that's the issue. She wanted to win on the parents, and so the other case got a little trickier. But maybe those parents will have the parents who are not in prison right now, the parents of the victims and the survivors.
Okay, let her go.
They may get that justice from the Attorney General. Anyways, Tresa, thanks for coming
Thanks for having me, guys. Love being here.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming.
I won't try and
Always
do the last
great.
word.
Great stuff. Great stuff.
Now, did you want to talk about your article in comparison to that?
Can you take Mike with you? Can you take Mike with you?
Who moves the needle in the Elric house? Boring.
What a great exit.
Yeah, take Mike with you, please.
Bye, guys. Thanks for having me.
So, yeah, it really sounds like the audience has spoken.
Yeah, I just want to let you guys know, just behind the scenes, we have some exciting new rugs coming into our house. The tub was just caulked the other day, and I think there's a good chance
Did
that
you
there'll
caulk
be.
it?
I've caulked it before, but I was out of town, and so that authority was taken away from me. And I think we're going to have some new art on the wall because right now it's just sitting on the island in our kitchen. So that's the update.
By the way, do I have a kiss of lipstick here?
Way to rub that in.
She just kissed me.
People saw it.
Can you see it?
You're watching on video.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you know how the mafia does it, Shawn? Same thing. I would not start your car.
They look the other way. What are you saying?
I'll let you do some
Are you
research.
saying she's the guma? What are you saying?
I'm saying it's called the kiss of death, Shawn.
Oh man, the geeks have inherited the earth.
Did I do that?
What a dork.
Does him wanting to play with us again mean that he's turning into a geek, or we're turning into cool guys?
Big Lion fans like me already know this, but for the rest of you who maybe are slow to get on the bandwagon, I've been there from the jump, folks. The Lions won't be content with anything less than a Super Bowl victory. You know that.
Crazy.
Ending the season as second best isn't good enough.
Crazier.
When you know you have the best team and refuse to settle for less. That's the attitude of people that sign up for their free evaluation of with Dr. Yaldo. They're tired of seeing just okay, and even then, still needing artificial aids like glasses, contacts, or annoying, easily misplaced reading glasses just to see okay. It's just not enough. Custom LASIK, like that offered by Dr. Yaldo, has given millions of Americans the best vision of their lives, often better than 20/20. Marc and I have both had it, and we see 20/15. And Dr. Yaldo's Clearview implantable lenses are often the Rolls-Royce solution people 40 plus with near vision problems seek. Be done with changing prescriptions, eye exams, and ongoing expenses for the rest of your life. So don't settle for less than Super Bowl caliber vision. See Michigan's premier eye surgeon, Dr. Yaldo. Sign up for your free evaluation today at the YaldoEyeCenter.com. You can find a link to his link at our website, which is mlsoulofdetroit.com. And if you see Dr. Y, tell him Mr. ML sent you. Shawn, did you notice that Tresa referred to me as ML?
She's called you ML?
She said that.
Yeah.
I
What
don't know
about
if you
it?
caught
Does that hurt?
Saying you should listen to the boss.
What about it?
Take a cue from your superiors.
What about it?
Even though she's about 10 years younger than you, I learned today. Hey, folks.
10 years.
She's like 10 months.
10 months? Oh,
Yeah.
those are some hard months. Hard months. I mean, like Dust Bowl type months. That was the Depression all over again. The Great Recession upon us. Full disclosure, Luke Nowacki has never spoken to Corey Feldman for any reason whatsoever. And if you listen to the Drew Lane show, you know what we're talking about. But he would like to talk to you, that being Mr. Nowacki, not Mr. Feldman. Call him at 248-663-4748 and give the Drew Lane podcast a review, or Drew might stop paying his taxes. And while you're there, why don't you give a review to the ML Soul Detroit show? We have over 600 reviews.
Rate, review, and subscribe. Right?
Yeah, we are right around 5-star average. Please help us maintain that level of excellence in the same way that Luke will help you maintain a healthy financial future. Because when you call Luke, he'll make it all about you, sweetheart.
Securities and investment advisory services offered through
Mosaic Wealth.
Inc. member FINRA SIPC.
Mosaic Wealth.
Inc. is separately owned, and other entities and or marketing names, products, or services referenced here are independent.
Mosaic Wealth.
Inc.
I think this week's Geek will generate very, very little debate. And even those of us who didn't watch the Jake Paul-Mike Tyson fight have heard more about the quality of the stream.
Watch it?
It was Friday night, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's always on there, though. It's always on Netflix.
Oh,
but
yeah.
Not necessarily live, but did you watch it at all?
No. I was finishing the column. I didn't really get a chance to talk about it.
It's a good tease, though. Everybody should go read his column.
Yeah, we'll have a link.
Rick feel better.
We'll have a link to it on our website. And when I finished, it was around 7 o'clock, and so I snuck over to Munn. I was in East Lansing to watch the rest of the Michigan State Notre Dame hockey game, and that clash between the Spartans and the Wolverines in January will be epic, as it always is. Mm-hmm. But these teams look pretty good. Notre Dame, I don't know how good they are, but they got rocked. As I understand, Mike Tyson did, which I was kind of surprised about. I thought Iron Mike.
I don't know if he really
beat this
got
guy.
Rocked. I mean, it was just a lame. I don't know. I thought the whole thing was lame. Sean, did you watch it at all?
No.
No. Did you? Is that something you have zero interest in?
Zero interest. I mean,
really?
I heard reports. My kids, I think, went over to a house and watched it with folks. By the way, what does your mom call you?
Precious one.
Does she call you ML?
The chosen one,
just like ML?
Just like Mama Kilpatrick called Baby Boy. Hit the bell. Yeah.
She calls you ML? I bet she doesn't.
I don't really worry about what
Michael?
she calls me. I worry more about the tone of voice. That's when I know I'm in trouble.
Michael? Did she call you Michael?
No, nobody called me Michael. She does call me ML.
Did she call you Mikey when you were young?
Everybody called me Mikey when I was young, which is why I'm ML now. I'm still traumatized.
You're not Mikey, you're Mike. I like Mikey's a term of endearment, though. So
they had some Life cereal commercial that was on in heavy rotation that made it torturous to be named Mikey.
Okay.
So I'm just amazed at you guys.
By the way, is that even
incuriosity of the fight?
Well, I can't believe you're letting me get away with saying I went to a hockey game, because I imagine the way these bouts work, that the fight didn't come on till like 11 or midnight.
Yeah, you know what? I don't think they came on till 11:30.
Yeah, no, these are terrible. I tried to watch a fight,
and I don't even care about the under. I used to love boxing. Loved it growing up. Used to follow it like crazy.
Cosell was doing it.
Well, I'm not that old, but
sorry.
I loved Iron Mike. I loved Sugar Ray, Tommy Hearns, Hagler. I mean,
Hagler was I loved Hagler.
I loved all those guys.
Marvelous Marvin. He legally changed his name to Marvelous Marvin Hagler because Cosell wouldn't call him Marvelous Marvin Hagler. That was his given name.
Even Mayweather and Canelo, who's still for some reason still fighting. I mean,
Roy Jones Jr.
Pacquiao. I loved all those. James Toney. Loved following it.
All the guys from the Kronk. I mean, this city produced amazing prize fighters.
But I could never get into MMA, and then boxing split off, and there's like 8 belts now, and I just couldn't follow it anymore. And I don't know. So I kind of fell out of it. And I didn't know who any of these fighters were on the undercard, so I didn't really care, which is good because I could not get that goddamn stream to work for the life of me. Until I went to my phone. So I ended up watching the big fight on my phone.
Oh, wow.
So I guess Netflix prioritizes phones.
Okay.
And TVs are more data, so they had trouble getting it. But and the fight went, and I feel like a sucker, frankly, because it went pretty much like I thought it was going to go. It was like a big old thing of patty cake where no punches were really landed.
See, I'm surprised. I know they were wearing heavy gloves, which is probably good. But
Tyson was in the hospital 2 months ago. I don't know if he should have been fighting.
But I would have thought, you catch somebody on the jaw, that's enough, even if it's a heavy glove or something less. But
not the case.
Okay.
I mean, maybe if it was a sucker punch, but when you're fighting and punches are coming, you get out of the way.
Were there a lot of clinches? Were they dancing the whole night?
No. I mean, dancing because there weren't any punches being thrown, right? So the whole thing was just... to me, laughable, yet they claim 60 million people watched it.
Well, one of the things that I found kind of outrageous is that all the crawls on the sports channels said, Mike Tyson lost in a decision for the first time in his career, and it should have said for the first time in his 40-year career to emphasize this is an old man who's fought a lot of fights and has either been knocked out, but mainly put people to sleep. But anyways, Netflix for creating a big event, for inviting everybody over, not ordering enough pizza. You're my Geek of the Week. And that was a metaphor, Shawn. Metaphor.
There's an all-night party in room 7609. And you can dance together all night if you've got the time.
Longtime listener and ardent friend of the show, Kevin, writes in. He makes no mention of my column about Highland Park and what went on there. He just
I heard it was boring.
But he's an ardent friend.
Skipped right over that, Kevin.
Somebody a while ago said it was boring.
What? Must have been a long time ago because that one guest wouldn't stop talking.
Ardent.
And then one guest woke up, and I got really tense in here for a while. The Smiths United are going to be playing their annual Thanksgiving is Still Murder show at the Magic Bag on November 27th. Tickets
What
are
a great
going
title for
fast.
for
Oh,
the
yeah.
show.
And it's great because the lead singer, Chris George, is not a vegetarian, so he doesn't mind digging into a little turkey. That show is coming up on the 27th. Hold.
I don't know why it wants to keep playing. Sorry.
Hang on there, Andy Rourke. May you rest in peace. And so we encourage you to go to the show. I look forward to seeing you at the show. They have the Used Cars, which is a Cars cover band, will be opening along with Hindsight. Shawn, any guess who Hindsight is honoring?
The B-52s.
Because Chrissy Hind is the lead singer of the B-50.
Well, you can say it was Hindsight.
Hind.
With a Y, so...
Hynde.
A band you'll never play? The
Pretenders.
I think we have played the Pretenders on this show before.
Not enough.
Anyway, so catch that show. So Kevin writes, with the Smiths United playing their annual night before Thanksgiving show at the Magic Bag, it sells out. Get your tickets, folks. And the man himself, Morrissey, coming to nearby Flint just 1 week before that. I figure that perhaps the Pope of Mope should get a pass for a rare Room 7609 appearance. To show my willingness to meet Marc and Shawn in the middle, the song I'm submitting is not even a Morrissey original. It's a cover.
All right.
But a cover of whom? Extra points if you know that. Love the show, guys. So here's Morrissey covering Trash.
Don't take it away.
Boy, as we watched that live performance from Dallas in 1991, I actually saw Morrissey on that tour when he performed in Dublin at the National Stadium.
Is that your way of telling us you went to Dublin to see Morrissey?
I was in Dublin, and he was there too, and I said, well, I should check it out. But he doesn't get enough credit for his amazing choreography. He's quite the...
What choreography?
He's quite the... He looks like somebody who suffered some sort of spinal cord injury in the middle of a performance.
Yeah. Do you like that cover?
So does anybody know? Anybody want to guess?
I do know, but I mean, I kind of cheated anyway because you had sent it to me. So,
Sean, any guess?
but knowing it once you know it,
I'm just glad it's over.
Well, I want to give Sean some hints because I think he can get this.
It's easily probably that band's most well-known song.
Well,
don't you think?
Morrissey was the UK fan club president for that band.
He was?
Yes.
Does somebody have a pillow?
Sean, Johnny Thunders on guitar. Any? No?
I'm getting cozy over here.
Doesn't no help there. David Johansen. Any?
You might know him as Buster Poindexter.
You may know him as Buster Poindexter. No.
Yeah, no, thank you.
Okay, Mark, you want to answer?
The New York Dolls.
The New York Dolls. Mark gets bonus points for
groundbreaking band,
knowing it was the New York Dolls. A very early trans band, as a matter of fact.
Well, glam, yeah,
glam
is the way to say it. But yeah.
So, yeah, we don't want to say anything trans now.
You know, I was telling Mark.
Here we go.
I was telling Mark.
Morning. Yeah.
I was telling Mark, Mike, that the thing about the Smiths for me, and I did like a couple of their songs when they came out as
don't say this. You're gonna upset them.
Yeah, no. I think the Smiths and Shawn share a certain worldview.
Well, but I couldn't
sorry.
I couldn't get past the people that I knew in the early '80s that liked them. To me, they were pretentious douchebags.
What about that demented woman in Memphis?
No, she wasn't a Smiths fan. She was more of a Clash.
You still keep in touch?
She was on the Clash side of things.
Oh, well, that's
cool.
Okay.
Yeah, no, she was probably a little cooler than the Smiths, but
tough to imagine. Well,
all I know is
it had such a profound effect upon me as a teenager that it made me very, very introverted.
Oh, I'm shocked that Morrissey was introverted.
A rare moment of introspection from someone who never spends any time considering himself or his situation.
Thankfully, other people's views don't really matter to me. Is that shocking?
Is that why you like him, Mike?
That's Morrissey.
I think that is why he likes the Smiths.
That's Morrissey reading from my memoir. So that's.
I think it's how we
that's
all
an
live.
homage.
I think we all carry loneliness around with us. I think we all carry great frustrations around with us.
Well, I agree with the loneliness part. Although I'm not feeling lonely today.
Aw.
Yeah, well, that's why you come in the rain and the mist and the trucks. And
I think that's a Smith's lyric, Sean. Now you're riffing. You're humdrum town. This town will let you down.
I'm sorry, I'm distracted. I'm trying to decide whether I need to get a patch in to cover the hole in my jeans. Oh. These are the big grand.
Oh, that looks cool.
These are the big grand things. Yeah, maybe not on an almost 60-year-old.
Wow,
it doesn't look cool. Ripped jeans are back though. I see them everywhere in young people.
I had a very serious issue, shallow thought the other day. I was watching. There's a new documentary on Netflix called "The Lost Children." It's about this plane.
No more
crash.
documentaries.
This is a plane crash in the middle of the Colombian jungle, and the mom and the pilot and the other adult dies, and there's 4 kids: 13, 9. 5 and 11 months old, and they survived for 40 days in the jungle while everybody searched for them. Pretty remarkable story.
With the baby,
and they showed them when they found them, and then just with a baby and how emaciated they were and ribs sticking out. And my one thought was, well, at least their jeans look cool now because they're all ripped right at the knee and everything. I'm like, now they're in style.
Yeah, it's Lord of the Flies denim.
Their clothes are all baggy. They were baggy and ripped, and I'm like, that's the style now. So I think
any Marc recommendations, by the way?
TV wise?
Yeah, new stuff.
Oh my God, yeah.
Day of the Jackal.
I just started watching that. It's fantastic.
It's really fun. It's really fun.
I cannot buy Eddie Redmayne as a sniper as the Jackal.
My wife said the same thing, but no,
doesn't
give
fit,
it time.
man.
No, give it time. He's
okay because I'm only in the first episode. It's very, very good,
fun.
but I can't buy him. I just don't buy him as being a sniper yet. I'm finally watching Lioness. Which the guy that wrote Yellowstone wrote.
That's with Zoe Saldana.
Yeah.
How is it?
Really good. It's
like
really
to
good.
like
It's about a female CIA agent, and she's got.
And that's Morgan Freeman, and
I'm not that far into it yet to have known if Morgan Freeman's in it. So,
but
it's really good. It's on Showtime.
Nicole Kidman.
She is in it. Yes. Yeah. Very good.
Okay.
And then, of course, there's Penguin, just wrapped on masks.
Oh, I'm going to watch that with my oldest son.
Who plays the Penguin?
Colin Farrell?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
how
that's
is
right.
it,
Because
Mark?
I remember seeing those ads and saying, that doesn't look like Colin
It's
Farrell.
not like just like a Batman more. It's more like the Batman movie with Robert Pattinson.
But it's good. You enjoyed it?
Yeah, uh-huh. And then there's...
The bad gal is Falcone's daughter.
Yeah.
What's her name? She was in this really underrated little movie with Adam. No.
Can't remember.
Oh,
and then the other good
Palm
one
Springs.
is...
It's like a...
Oh, yeah.
It was a redo of Groundhog Day.
Yeah, with Sandberg. Andy
Yeah.
Samberg.
And she was in that.
And
She was
I can't
great.
think of her name. And then on Apple TV Plus, have you seen Disclaimer?
No, how is it?
It's really good.
Okay.
It's one you got to pay attention to. Those are my 4
Let's
picks
check
for
that
it.
out. I tried to watch the second season of The Shrinking. And
What? It's great. You don't like it?
No, it was so over the top. So, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Have you stuck with it?
No.
Because last week's episode was really, really good.
Gave it one episode, and it's like it lost its way.
Whatever happened to Beef? Did that stay on the air or did that get canceled?
Beef?
Oh, that was great.
That was the Korean revenge
I
series.
see that one I couldn't stick with either.
You couldn't? A little too intense?
Korean American revenge series.
Too many minorities. I just couldn't stick with it. I don't know why.
Well, Shawn was a big fan of it, but I haven't heard that much about it since it first came out.
Yeah, no, it's intense. It's not an easy watch.
Are they doing a second season or was it?
I don't know. That's a good question.
Okay. So where's the beef?
Yeah, where's the beef?
Okay.
Any British suggestions from you, Mike?
I canceled my BritBot subscription about a year ago.
Why?
So
It brought you a lot of pleasure.
Too many subscriptions. So
It was $8 a month, and that brought you a lot of pleasure.
Why don't you just use Sean's password?
Too much. Because it's Morrissey sucks and the S's are dollar signs.
I was going to say the
So
S.
I didn't want to give it away. Since we're giving away all our personally identifying stuff.
Sucks with an X.
With an X. Well, Sean, I have a recommendation.
Isn't that a RoboCop thing? SUX? Wasn't there something in RoboCop that... Anyway, the original RoboCop. Go ahead.
If you want to start your week off the right way, there's Muscle Madness every Monday at the Caju Cafe. And
I have
there's also-
tremendous amount of muscle.
This is
covered in fat.
This is Muscle and Tone, and the tones are provided by the Monday Night Jam, which I think Bobby East may be leading on a regular basis. It's all you can eat mussels on Monday, and they have lots of other great stuff on the menu. If you've got more mussels than any righteous man should, like Shawn. Wednesday, karaoke. Thursday, you can hear Dave R. and the Detroiters. Friday, the Dave Hamilton Band takes the stage. On Saturday, it's the Holiday Beer Garden Bazaar, where Zap Toro plays the music of Santana. And you can end the weekend on a high note on Sunday with Planet D None. For more on the music and the menu, go to cajucafe.com and like Dr. Yaldo, like Luke and the Caju, we will have a link to their websites on our website. When you go there, let them know that your old pal ML sent you. We made an appeal last week to people to support the show because we will be losing a sponsor next month, which means we're more reliant than ever on those of you who enjoy this show. Kelly stepped up generously and said, I'm making this donation. It's a one-time donation to Venmo. You can also make one-time donations to PayPal.
Thank you.
It says,
really nice.
This is to support one of my favorite podcasts. Best wishes to Mike, Marc, Erica, and sometimes Shawn.
Aww.
Does it say sometimes?
Sometimes
he added that.
This is. I just read what's
Read it,
on.
Shawn.
I'm like Ron Burgundy. I'm from Wales, Vagina, California. Erica will be back. We're going to have more of Erica in December. She's working days
I'm just
at
watching Shawn
WDIV.
read.
Yeah, we got to get him to Dr. Yaldo.
Don't say that. It says sometimes Shawn.
Yeah, and so
That's okay.
So, well, I think a lot of Shawn goes a long way.
That means you only get some of the money she donated.
Oh,
or probably none of it.
A handsome portion. Erica will be on a lot more in December, folks. She's working days at WDIV. If you've not caught her on Channel 4, absolutely do it. She is right where she belongs, back on TV, telling stories and helping people who are really deserve to get a little bigger audience, and she's fantastic. So we miss her, and we're looking forward to having her back. She has also, by the way, given us some very good input on our merch store, which will be opening soon. This is a limited opportunity. You can buy your stuff before the holidays so that it ships before Christmas, but we are going to have some new and exciting offerings. And next week, we are going to have a video by Teebs, who's going to tell you why this is a good use of your money.
Shawn, I didn't get your feedback on the picture I made of you.
Oh, for the T-shirt with the dome.
Yeah, do you like that one?
Not really.
Look at that.
What? It's
Would
black-
you buy that? Are
black
you
and
watching,
white.
No,
folks?
we don't need to sell that.
Black and white headshot. It says, "Can I ask a question?" That's
Yeah,
great.
We don't
like that.
We don't look at those circles under the eyes. I have a little.
Did you put up the Marc's calves?
Oh, I love that one too. I have a little feedback.
Hang on. Let's see. There's that one.
Can I read some feedback?
I think now I'm going in the wrong direction.
Oh yeah, no.
Oh, I like that one. Don't you like that one, Shawn?
Yeah, no, that one didn't.
Oh,
that one didn't hit.
It's a clock and every number's Elric's face. And it says, "Want to hear a quick story? Do you have 2 hours?"
I love it. I love it. I love it.
I like the faces. The rest of it.
My quick feedback.
I didn't get the pandas hate me more.
Because I don't like pandas. Because you missed every once in a while you don't do a show, and so we talk about things. And
And
apparently
he did not like
you don't
pandas.
listen. Apparently you don't listen back to him either.
He did.
I
not
do,
like
but I
pandas.
thought everybody loved you. And there's Marc's calves.
But Marc doesn't like. Yeah, the Marc's calves are great. The
And
pandas.
the room 7609. Did you? This is
on an
this
outhouse.
is this is where Shawn spends room 7609. That's his room
No, I thought that
7609.
was a metaphor for saying it's shit.
That's what I thought too.
No, that's room 7609.
Well,
and
I'm not part of that, so people aren't going to make that leap. My
That's where Shawn listens to room 769.
My feedback is I was in an elevator at Ford Field the other day, and as the Lions are beating the
But
who'd they
you
play?
get feedback?
Jacksonville 52-6.
Oh, what a great game!
And in the media elevators, there's always somebody that operates the elevator. It's kind of old timey that way. And I get in, and there's another guy that gets in, and he's dressed.
Sports
in,
writers are just too dumb to get off at the right floor.
He's dressed in NFL garb, and the operator says, "Hey, maybe it was halftime." The operator says, "Great game, eh? What should just assume we're a couple of fans." And the guy says, "Oh, I'm not rooting. I work for the NFL. I have to stay neutral." And then before I could say anything, and he turns to me and he tells her, and he can't root either, right? And I said, "No, I can't." So we get up. Goes up a couple floors. He starts to get off. He turns around. He says, "By the way, I love your podcast."
Oh, really?
And I said, "Thank you." And I thought, oh, he didn't say, "I love Mike's podcast that you're on." or
Maybe he's talking about the
ML's
Carlos
podcast.
and Shawn.
Yeah, no, he said, "I love your podcast. I wish there was more Carlos."
He said, "I
That
love
was
your
that-
podcast." And so I thought that was interesting that I wasn't just, I love Mike's podcast that you get to spend a little time on. So that was nice.
Well, it's definitely better when you're both here.
So that was
People
nice.
are using me to get to you, Shawn. Believe me.
I just thought it was.
I'm a gateway drug to
Very
Soma.
nice. It's very nice that he said.
I hear that occasionally at sports venues or whatever. The people want to talk about the podcast. So
Well, you're very approachable too.
for whatever that's not really, but for whatever
you
that's
are.
worth. I think it's the baldness.
The avuncular Mr. Windsor.
I think
I think it's the cool ripped jeans.
I think it's the baldness, or as Mike would say, the turkey chin, the turkey neck. Is that
I'd
it?
say turkey neck. I may have said turkey necks.
I think you're,
but yes,
you're a very friendly person.
and I spelled it N-E-X, just like you spell sucks,
yeah.
S-U-X. So.
Turkey neck.
So yeah, no, it's a Thanksgiving to remember. By the way, I want to ask people, and please send us an email on this.
Ask them.
mlsoulofdetroit@gmail.com. If I put together some sort of pre-show party for the Smith Show at the Magic Bag, or if we just arranged to meet at a bar nearby beforehand,
Better.
would you want to do that? Would you be up for that? Let me know.
Only if Shawn's there.
It's Wednesday,
Now you're gonna
November
make Shawn go.
27th. So let me know, because if we
So
could do a
next
little meet
Wednesday.
and greet. Oh God, I guess it's coming up. You're
Oh,
right.
it's the
next
day
Wednesday.
before Thanksgiving. Wow.
Yikes! Well, it is.
Thanksgiving, yeah.
Thanksgiving is still murder.
So a bar? You want a bar gathering?
Or we meet at the Magic Bag early, when the doors open, something like that. Just a little say.
Why
hey,
don't you just say you're going to be there early, and then people will show up?
Because people know better. I'm never early anywhere, but which sometimes.
Oh,
is
so you
a
were
good
counting
thing.
on Shawn and I to go.
Yeah, right.
No,
So you need to make
you
it
guys
its
are
own-
you guys are not obligated. I'm just saying if we have listeners who would like to convene somewhere and there's interest in that, then we can talk about it, and maybe next Tuesday.
What time are doors?
Let's say open at that time.
So you need to make it its
7
own
probably.
thing.
All right,
Something
so
like
the party, I'm going to tell you, Elric, the party starts at 7, and then anybody that wants to meet up, Elric will be there at 8.
Shawn will be there for the encore.
My wife used to do that to me.
Are you gonna
My
go?
wife used to do that if we had a place to go, like a wedding. She would be like, it starts at 4. And I remember driving to a wedding, and I was really late, kind of stressing out, and I realized she wasn't. I'm like, why aren't you stressing out? She goes, it doesn't start at 4. I'm like, well, now you lied to me, and now I'm never going to know what time things really start.
Lovely little liar, just
And
like
then
the show.
and now I should tell her just to hang out with you two, because you guys are way later than I ever am for anything.
Well, that's because
Okay.
Yep, she
No,
told
no,
us.
no.
I've adjusted.
that's because you're a Republican and we are not, and Republicans are much better about being on time and making shit making sure stuff.
I'm
gets
not
done.
anything. I'm
talking about.
No, it's like the Michael Moore, whatever else you think of him. He had a great bit one time about the problem with Democrats. You put a bunch of them around a table and just try to figure out where to go to dinner, and 2 hours later you're still sitting at the table.
Yeah.
You put a bunch of Republicans around the table, say where you want to go eat. You're like, we're going to the Sizzler, and you're out the door in 30 seconds.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of truth to that.
Yeah, it's the same reason you get on a plane and you hear a Republican in the cockpit. You're like, I'm going to be good. Yeah.
Well,
You're gonna have to
I didn't follow
explain
the
that.
last part.
You know what I mean?
No,
No.
we don't. We just made that clear. Please
Like-
explain.
Like if you hear an ex-military guy up in there, right? Especially if he has
as opposed to like a woman?
No, not that. Especially if
What
they
are you
have
talking about?
Especially if they have
You won't have many military women in the future if the defense
Especially-
secretary gets through.
Especially if they have a southern drawl. No. That just used to be a joke a long time ago. But
Oh,
no. But the idea is
Elvin tell you that?
the Law and Order Party. Well, what used to be the Law and Order Party. Gets things done, right? You make decisions emphatically. You don't second guess.
Yeah, no matter what the
and you go do it. And so you're going to be on time, and Mike is not. That's just
Well,
how it goes.
I think when you have the Democrats around the table, the problem is first they want to feed everybody. Oh, should
that
we
too.
really be
Yeah.
eating? Shouldn't we be doing something for the children? And then by the end of it, they just decide, screw it, we're going to get Taco Bell. I want to thank some of the other people who have responded to the plea that I extend to those of you who have not joined the Soulmates yet.
You just thanked them.
If you can give us $5 a month, as little as $5 a month, it really helps support the show. You can watch the show. You can see some of the hijinks we get up to. You can admire my fine tie and my gorgeous wife. And
your beautiful face.
I am kind of the better half. But you can see us here, and you can get the show before everybody else. You can get the show without the insertion ads, which also help support the show, but are annoying. And John Leninger says, after months of nonstop begging, LOL, or as our friend Hugh Perkins would say, ha ha, I finally caved and subscribed to your Patreon. Can't wait to join the exclusive club. Thank you, John. And those of you who are in the exclusive club just got access to our latest bonus episode, a very salty episode of Ask Eli, where we tackle some of life's toughest questions and give you some of life's worst advice. Rick, the Immaculate Circumcision, is already one of the Soulmates, and he says of last week's show, great discussion and panel. Jim O, another Soulmate, says, that episode ended a lot like a Tori Spelling podcast.
That's very true.
So, okay, Jim, we're all entitled to our opinion. And then we have some more feedback from some freeloaders. Sophia says, hi, ML. As a Detroit resident, do you really think the city has improved overall under Duggan, and so much so that he deserves to inherit the throne in Lansing in 2026? Best, Sophia.
Go,
P.S.
20 words or less.
Please don't cite bogus 1,800 estimated population growth last year, later revealed to be illegal immigrants the Biden administration allegedly settled in the city as proof of some vast comeback. Whew. Well, another column I wrote last week that nobody wants to talk about is Duggan's, what's going to happen next for him. He announced last week that he would not be seeking a fourth term as mayor, and I believe he's going to run for governor, and talked a lot about that in the column. But one of the things Sophia touched on, and I don't know about this Biden thing, but Duggan said, once I saw that we had 1,800 more people than we did before, when we're finally growing our population, then I knew I was done and it was time to move on.
You're right.
Yeah, that's not how this guy works. This guy's been planning this for a long time, and whatever he does, whether it's run for governor, and I think that's where the smart money is, or does something else, he didn't just wait to see the census figures, because for years he told us, I actually didn't say that my goal was to grow the population. It was just to make this city a place that people want to move back to. Well, now that the population's grown, he's gone back to my goal was to increase the population. So yeah, no, he's running for governor.
Sounds like a politician.
He does. And this whole thing, the city has improved overall under Duggan. Absolutely. Do you know how many homes have been demolished that were just eyesores? Do you know how many homes have been rehabilitated? And forget all that. Just drive around the city and look at the parks. The parks look great. They look clean. They don't look like they're falling apart. And you can actually see where there's a swing set there because the weeds aren't 10 feet tall. Did he do everything the right way? Did he do everything the best way? Did he check all the boxes? No, but the man got stuff done. Not the greatest person to deal with if you're a journalist, by the way. He could be pretty salty, and he doesn't really like to answer to people. But he was a very effective mayor, and the way he led this city through COVID alone, speaks to his ability to get things done. Again, always the best way? I don't know. He's admitted that his demolition program kind of went off the rails because he went too hard. But the city of Detroit, in so many ways, is far better than the city he inherited. Is that enough to make him governor? He'll have to make that case. Sounds like Sophia's not buying it. But it's tough to take away from him his accomplishments here in the city of Detroit. So I guess I'll let it go at that. Gentlemen, you have some feedback from our astute and erudite audience, I believe.
Want me to go? I'll go first. All right. Hi, ML. I found your recent show discussing Harris and the Democrats' reasons for losing interest. Everyone made valid points. It's easy to pin the blame on the loser, but in this case, shouldn't the focus be on where we're failing as a society? Trump's re-election should serve as an indictment to where we are heading. Why did we re-elect a convicted sex offender? Why did we re-elect a man who puts himself over the Constitution? His own ex-vice president did not endorse him, let alone his own cabinet warned us of his danger. These facts should have been showstoppers. How is it possible we keep electing criminals? Trump, Kwame, ring bell, etc. Why do we keep propping them up? The short answer probably starts with wealthy businessmen feeding the public misleading, fear-based propaganda. Take care. Spartan Steve, go green. Didn't need to read that last part.
All right, go green. Yeah, I'm probably.
By the way, they're both.
You probably never said that in your life.
Never. By the way, I would say
good one, Steve.
I would say both sides run on fear-based propaganda for what that's worth.
Yeah, well, you know, it's all about trying to drive people to a certain place, and you do that
fear
by,
works better.
You do that by things that really, you know, excite people. You know, Trump is. I forgot how much of my time Trump took when he was president, because you're constantly checking to see what did he tweet. You're constantly checking to see what's going on. I mean, I used to check the Washington Post app like a dozen times a day. And it seemed to me once he was no longer in the White House, I became more productive because Washington it didn't seem like it was on fire. Or it wasn't at least part of the centerpiece of a three-ring circus. And, oh, my God, how long? The guy's not even sworn in yet, and already we got the cabinet and this Matt Gaetz thing. I mean, this is crazy. And again, whether you voted for Trump or not, whether you like his agenda, whether you like Kamala Harris, I think we can all agree that he has started off like gangbusters, and some of these choices. I mean, I'm just going to keep going back to Matt Gaetz. The headline today, since we started recording this show, is that a hacker has now gotten into this ethics committee file, and we're going to find out more. The lawyer for the women he had sex with is now coming forward.
But it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. He wasn't convicted of anything. And honestly, going back to the question where where Spartan Steve says, why did we reelect a convicted sex offender or a man who puts himself over the Constitution? It's pretty simple. Because people thought he's a better choice going forward, and they don't care about that stuff.
When people thought that he was persecuted, that the power of the government was used against him.
I don't even think the majority of people voted for him even care about that aspect of it. I think it's like, no, I think he'll do a better job than she will. I think sometimes it is just that simple. I like him. I don't like her. I don't like how expensive things are. I'm going to go with that guy.
I think at the end of the day, people do go with their gut like that. But we are in an age of contradictions. When Bill Clinton was president, people were not getting appointed to cabinet posts, or they're having to resign because they didn't pay the taxes on their nanny. You know, now we have people who paid a married woman he had sex with in a drunken tryst in a hotel while her young children and husband were down the hall, a settlement, and it's just like, yeah, no big deal. Don't worry about it. We have people who hold the Second Amendment sacred because they think if we don't have weapons and high-powered weapons, we won't be able to defend ourselves against our own troops if they somehow come to take over the country. Now many of those same people are in favor of American troops being deployed on U.S. soil for the first time to act as police officers.
Well, they can't do that, but they can.
But this is the kind of thing.
Nuanced, but I know what you mean.
But this is why people want their guns, because they don't want to see American troops rolling in the United States unless it's a rescue mission. And you know, the kind of things that people used to lose their mind over 10 or 20 years ago that are now just like, hey, whatever. You know, I mean, I whatever, no big deal. And Matt Gaetz, I listen to Michael Smirkanish on the POTUS channel on Sirius XM, and he's a real kind of middle down the road guy, and he's also a lawyer, and he's been a Republican campaign official or activist. And he said the Matt Gaetz thing, you don't even have to get to the sex and the drugs. The guy was a lawyer for 2 years and didn't really practice. You're going to make him the top law enforcement official in the country?
Well, and has he run anything?
I mean, dude,
with that amount of people underneath him.
Yeah, you can't. I think that's, he's run a lot of 17s under him.
I think that's the point, though. I think that's what they want.
No,
and whatever, it'll be an experiment.
People voted for Trump, I think, because they want to shake this place to the foundations.
Yes, they do.
And he is delivering already. He should be Bush landing on the aircraft carrier, mission accomplished. With some of these cabinet appointments, mission accomplished. Whether you agree with them or not, you can't dispute that they are going to shake this country up. Now, I guess the question is, do you want this country shaken up in that way? But there's no debate. Trump is coming, and he is coming loud. And he's got a weird dude from South Africa as his wingman.
Oh, the richest man.
All righty.
First
so
buddy.
This is from, do we say their names? I can't remember.
Yes, we don't give their full names or their address or their date of birth. Rookie.
Oh, boy. Yeah. This is from Bob. Sola Detroit team. Appreciate the discussion this week. I assume that means last week. Felt compelled during the album piece discussion to share, to me, the middle-aged adults who threw tantrums about a, quote, tainted election after 2020 and threatened election workers for the next 4 years represent a much greater fragility crisis than college students playing with dogs or toys after their candidate loses. Keep it up, guys. Best. Bob.
Interesting.
Well, again, this is a country of contradictions. We have people saying, oh, I don't want to call them they, them. I don't want to call them go in this bathroom. I don't want to do this. I don't want to do that. But then they're fine, Kamala Harris calls Trump a fascist, and Republicans like, how can she call him that? And then Trump calls her a fascist like a dozen times, and they're like, no big deal. I mean, this really does feel like everybody gets all butthurt if you say something about them, but they have no problem saying whatever the hell comes in their crazy ass head about you. It just, why can't we all just kind of dial it back a little bit?
Yeah, like the towel over your left shoulder says, fly together, fly forever.
What?
There you go. You're saying, why can't we just get along and understand each other?
Oh, I don't know if I said that, but I'm just...
No, that's what you were getting at. So I'm just saying, it says it right behind you.
Yeah.
That towel
fly together, fly forever.
Which was a gift.
Fly together, fly forever.
That was a gift that Elric gave to me.
With the Jordan logo in Michigan.
Yeah.
The Block M.
That's why he gave it to me.
The Block M represents excellence. We all know that.
Oh, yeah. Leaders and best.
In the University of Missouri, it does, for sure. Great journalism school. So anyway, we appreciate hearing back from you. Please send your emails, your comments, your quips. You can Patreon members. You'll always get precedence on comments and feedback, so you can comment to us through Patreon. That's also where you can donate to support the show. And there's a new thing, by the way. If you are not a Patreon member, if you don't want us to dip into your pocket every month automatically, you can purchase individual shows, and pretty soon we think you'll be able to buy the bonus episodes as an a la carte item. We're working on changing our Patreon.
You definitely can do the videos if you don't want to sign up and pay every month and want to watch them. You can just pay per video.
Yeah, so that's probably, when it's me and Shawn and Marc, that's probably not as attractive a proposition, but we have some lovely guests. Check them out. And Patreon is a great way to support the show. If you have something to say, send it to us at mlsoulofdetroit@gmail.com. As Marc said earlier, please like, listen, and rate the show. We love to get those 5-star reviews, but we'll take the other ones too. I don't think we have a choice. So, Shawn, you are writing like 3 columns a day now? Pistons, Lions, Wolverines. No Spartans.
Yeah, we got college basketball coming. I'm going to check on that pretty soon. I know people don't really pay attention to that until January.
Well, Michigan looks a lot better than people had any right to expect at the end of last season.
Yeah, they're
exactly what I expected.
They'll be interesting this year. We got the end of the college football season, at least for around here, coming up. We'll see if
it may end this weekend.
We'll see if these two teams We'll see if these two teams can get to a bowl game.
It's all about one thing. It's all about the Lions.
And yes, and then there's this other thing happening that people are still not sure what to make of it. It feels like a meteor hitting here.
The Lions,
The Lions being the Super Bowl favorites.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
From Las Vegas.
Yeah.
It's
just
just doesn't make any
what
sense.
the heck?
I love it.
It's just so surreal. I know. I keep hearing Lions fans saying, we talked about this on the phone earlier, right? That they're not quite sure what to do with this. They're still not quite sure.
Some people are asking if they should stop running up the score, I understand. Or is it just one person asking that?
I'm sorry, that column was fucking ridiculous.
Oh, well, you know.
That one's,
it wasn't Sean's.
That one's going on the wall right next to the Tarek Skubal will not win the Cy Young Award.
It's the NFL. You don't run up the score. Stop him.
I think Skubal's going to be okay.
Yeah, Skubal will be okay.
It's going to be all right.
So we'll see. But anyway, yeah, there we go.
Okay. Well, next week we have a very special guest joining us. Alan Lee, the longtime morning host of Fox News, or Fox 2 Detroit, is going to join us. He's also an author, spent some time out in L.A., so if you haven't seen Alan on TV in a while, we're going to catch up with him on what he's been up to. It's going to be a very...
How long has he been retired? How long has it been?
Well, he didn't retire.
He didn't?
He wrote
thanks, Marc.
an espionage book, and I
So is
believe
he
he
still on?
optioned it. No, he optioned it, and I think they're making it a movie, and he moved to L.A.
Oh, good for him.
So,
okay. How long ago did he leave Fox 2? I guess I should rephrase the question.
God, it's got to be almost 10 years ago.
As I say, it feels like a long
and
time.
Alan is terrific. I mean,
Yeah, I
that
love
was a big loss for us. But Jay Towers has picked up the slack. So
He's no Alan Lee.
Amen. There's only one Alan Lee. Okay, so that goes without saying. So Alan will be with us. We'll also open our merch store. We'll tell you about some of the cool stuff you can get there, and hopefully, depending on what your response is, maybe we'll plan a little meetup before the Smiths United show. Marc and Shawn are not obligated to be there, but
I won't be there. I got something else going on. So.
Marc, we're going to do it at 2 p.m.
By the way, any other guests?
You can get there by 9.
Any other future guests that retired a long time ago to help us be of the moment and all that sort of thing?
What a jerk. Usually this is the part where you want to get out of here, Shawn. Look how proud he is of himself.
No, I just
so
want to
proud
see,
of himself.
We've been waiting. We've been waiting.
I just want to see Mike smile.
We've been waiting 5 years for Shawn to get Jennifer Hammond to come in here. We're still waiting.
I don't have very many strengths, and that's definitely not one of them.
Why don't you get that one writer who likes the show to come in? That you were telling us about.
Who likes the show?
Yeah, you told us the story. So, by the way, I like the podcast. I thought you said that wasn't a writer.
No, this was somebody that worked for the NFL.
Yeah, okay. Well, same difference.
I don't know who it was. It was just
Yeah, you do.
No, I don't.
You don't really?
No,
Okay,
it was
I don't know.
Just somebody
Nice asking the person's name.
That happens to me every once in a while, and people want to. I'm always. I think they're going to
You're
want to
not
come
so
up.
approachable.
They want to come up, and I always assume it's going to be about my column or the Free Press, but no. But a lot of times it's this show. It's fun.
What about that person who left their jacket in the back of your car when you showed them your column? Is that your Golden Gates
That
trip
was
to
still-
San Francisco? I think we're calling that.
That was still one of the strangest damn things.
Beans and teens on the road with Shawn
Can you
Windsor.
imagine coming to your rental car and all of a sudden there's this
it's
jacket?
gross.
I know it is. All right, I know Cyrus is waiting.
Cyrus is waiting, and he's waiting to take us out.
Can you dig that?
Can you dig it? Can you dig it?
The Big Story is produced by Marc with music by Vladimir Zelinsky. Tonight's program was written by Arnold Pearl. In order to protect the names of people actually involved in tonight's authentic Big Story, the names of all characters in the dramatization were changed, with the exception of the reporter ML Elric. This is Ernest Chappell speaking for the makers of Pall Mall Famous Cigarettes.